Nietzsche spoke of truths untold, of masks and games, both subtle and bold. He saw what most refused to see, that love is not salvation, it's strategy. They promised you love pure and divine, a cure for the cracks that time refined. But that promise was never meant to stay, just illusions designed to keep you at bay. Nature wrote no sweet refrain, no perfect love to heal your pain. Her scalpel cut through myths so dear, exposing truths we'd rather not hear. You think you love her, but it's not true. You love how she reflects the best of you. Her validation feels like love's embrace, but it's the mirror of yourself you chase. And women learned, through shadow and fight, to wield their power out of sight. Denied the tools of visible might, they mastered influence, soft yet tight. Men were taught to idealize, to seek the muse, the healer, the prize. But Nietzsche saw the roles at play, and the truths beneath the words we say. Her softness isn't weakness, it's art, a strategy honed, a calculated part. You dream of angels, she sees the game, but instinct, not malice, gives her name. Love, Nietzsche said, is often disguise, a mirror of myths, a lover's lies. She didn't betray you, she simply stopped playing the role where she felt trapped. So here's the truth, raw and bare. Love's not about unity. It's about care. Not the care that coddles, but the one that sees, the strength in confronting our own unease. If Nietzsche's words feel sharp and cruel, it's the crack in the mask, the shattering rule. To grow, to love, to see what's real, you must face the fears you try to conceal. And when the masks fall, so too does the pain, not the end of love, but its truest gain. No longer a story, no longer disguise, just the courage to see through love's deepest lies. What if love's not a bond to keep, but a mirror, awakening truths that sleep? Not the safety net you've longed to find, but a force to evolve your heart and mind. Nietzsche warned of comfort's snare, of stories that keep us unaware. He didn't condemn love, he laid it bare, a dance of needs, not always fair. You offer your heart in trembling hands, hoping she'll mend what life demands. But love was never meant to repair. It's a fire, not a balm, to strip you bare. And women, masters of unseen might, wield their power in shadowed light, not to deceive, but to survive, in a world where softness keeps them alive. But here's where men stumble and fall, worshiping myths, ignoring the call, to see her not as muse or saint, but human, complex, without restraint. When she pulls away, you feel the sting, not of loss, but of self-unraveling. For it wasn't her love you truly sought, but a place to hide from the fears you fought. Nietzsche's lesson cuts through the haze. To grow is to abandon old, naive ways. Stop searching for muses, for roles to play, and start seeing love in its rawest array. When love is no longer a mask or game, when neither seeks power nor places blame, it transforms, not into a fairy tale's guise, but a partnership born of open eyes. So ask yourself not if she's to blame, but whether you've let go of love as a claim. For the one who sees clearly without disguise unlocks love's true power, the will to rise. True love isn't soft. It doesn't console. It challenges the depths of your soul. It strips away the comforting lie that another can fix what you won't try. She isn't your savior, your muse, or your cure. She's human, complex, imperfect, unsure. And you? You're not a knight in shining grace, but someone still searching to find their place. Nietzsche saw through the stories we tell of perfect unions and love's magic spell. He warned, if you stay blind to her truth, you'll trade wisdom for illusions of youth. But the crack in the mirror reveals a gift, a chance for your perspective to shift. Not to blame, not to despair, but to stand in the truth and meet her there. Imagine a love that's not a disguise. No games, no masks, no calculated ties. Where neither is savior and neither submits, but both confront what their soul admits. She's not an angel, nor meant to redeem, and love's not the cure for life's broken dream. But together, as equals, you might explore a connection that doesn't seek to keep score. For centuries, the myths kept us apart. Men's control of the world, women's control of the heart. But now is the moment to break the chain, to forge love anew, beyond comfort or pain. So when you feel the pull of despair, when her distance feels too much to bear, ask yourself, is it her you seek, or the reflection of worth you fear to critique? Love isn't the answer, it's the test, the forge where your truth is laid to rest. When you love her not for how she heals, but for the human behind what she reveals. This is Nietzsche's gift, his radical claim. Love's not about power, nor is it a game. It's a revolution within your own mind, a way to grow stronger, to seek, to find. So step into the fire, let the illusions burn. To face the truth is how you'll learn. And in the ashes, love may arise, not as a fairy tale, but as life, realized. When the illusions crumble, what remains? Not the stories, not the emotional chains. It's you, raw, vulnerable, and real, finally unshackled to see and to feel. Love, in its essence, is not what you thought. It's not a prize to be won or fought. It's the courage to face yourself in the flame, to strip away ego, to abandon the game. Nietzsche's wisdom whispers still, see beyond your projected will. Stop casting her as a savior divine, and realize the power was always thine. For centuries, men sought to control the outer world, their ultimate goal, but in love, they surrendered their core, blind to the balance they chose to ignore. Women denied the open field, forged quiet weapons, their power concealed, not to dominate, but to survive, to claim a space where they could thrive. And now, in this modern stage, the roles collide, the myths disengage. Love demands more than submission or power. It calls for truth in the present hour. What if she's not testing, not setting a trap? What if her silence is the strength you lack? She's not here to lead, nor here to be led, but to meet you as equals, where fears are shed. Can you see her, not as muse or foe, but as someone who helps you grow? Can you hold her hand without the need to use her love as a salve or creed? Because love, unshackled, is something more, a shared vulnerability that restores. It's not about who holds the key, but a journey where both are free. Nietzsche warned of love as control, of roles and myths that swallow us whole. But he also left a quiet refrain. In truth, love's fire can free the pain. So step beyond the stories you knew, the myths of power, of love untrue. Stand bare, without demands or fear, and find a connection that's truly sincere. For when masks fall and illusions fade, love isn't lost, it's remade. Not a savior, not a muse, not a role to fulfill, but a partnership forged from mutual will. This is the awakening Nietzsche foretold, a truth for the brave, for the bold. To love without lies, to face what's within, is not the end of love, but where it begins. In the ruins of illusion, there's freedom to find, when we strip away all the masks that blind. True love isn't just a tender embrace, it's the courage to face what we often erase. We've been taught to love with expectations, to chase perfection in fleeting temptations. But love, when rooted in need or control, is never pure. It's a bargain for the soul. What if the love you've longed to feel was never about the pain it could heal? What if it's the mirror, so sharp, so clear, that reflects your truth, your greatest fear? Nietzsche knew this. He saw the game, how we twisted love to ease our shame. We call it salvation, redemption, grace. But love's not a rescue. It's a mirror to face. What if love isn't a treasure to claim, but a fire that burns with no one to blame? What if it's a partnership, equal and true, not a one-sided dance between me and you? The illusion of love is a prison of thought. It's the belief that you're broken, that you've lost. But when you stop searching for someone to fix, you find the power in your own mix. She's not here to complete what's torn. She's not your answer to pain nor your scorn. But together, you can explore the deep, where truths awaken and shadows sleep. The real betrayal isn't hers to bear. It's the fantasy you refuse to share. The myth that love can heal and protect and leave the broken parts unchecked. To love, truly love, is to stand alone, to not need saving but to be grown, to meet her where both can be whole, not to fill voids but to inspire the soul. In this awakening, the heart finds peace, not through control, but in love's release. Not bound by fear or desperate desire, but in the freedom of mutual fire. So when the illusion falls away, what you find might take your breath away. Not the end of love, but the start of something new. A love unmasked and finally true. Nietzsche showed us the path to see that love is not the chains that set us free. It's the mirror that forces us to grow, to confront ourselves and let it show. What if love isn't a story we tell, but a truth we've hidden, a place to dwell? What if it's not what you thought it would be, but a transformation, finally free? When you stop needing her to be your cure, you start seeing love in its form, so pure, not perfect, not flawless, but real and raw, a love that asks you to face what you saw. And in that truth, there's no room for masks, no need for the roles or pretentious acts, only two souls, naked and free, meeting in love for what's meant to be. In the silence between us, there's wisdom to find, not in dreams or fantasies, but in the mind. Nietzsche spoke of the shadows we chase, of the lies we hold close to our grace. He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. Nietzsche's truth rings clear. We seek love, but often we find our fear. The abyss we seek to escape is not her gaze, but the reflection of our own self-made maze. Love, he taught, cannot be a crutch to save the parts of you you fear too much. It's not a balm for wounds you deny, but a fire that forces you to rise, not lie. Carl Jung echoed this wisdom so true. In his work, he said something that we must pursue. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. In love, we find our truest scars. For Jung knew well, as did Nietzsche's mind, that to love is to confront, not to hide behind. You seek a reflection, but what you desire is not her love, but to extinguish your fire. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Jung's revelation rings loud. We chase love thinking it makes us proud. But love is the mirror, the truth that stands, not to complete us, but to help us understand. What if the love you seek to claim is not about fixing but facing your shame? Not about finding salvation in her eyes, but confronting your own self-made lies? Nietzsche's wisdom calls us to rise, to face our truths and no longer disguise. Become who you are, he proclaims with might, for only in truth can we love in light. Jung, too, in his depths, did know that love is not a gift to bestow, but a force that reflects what lies beneath, a journey to the self to break free from grief. So love, in this context, is not to be saved, but to save yourself from the fears you've braved. It's not to demand or seek validation, but to stand in your truth, no hesitation. Jung's self is the core we must know. It's not in her love, but in our own flow. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. When we do, we no longer live so discreetly. For when you no longer need to be whole, you can truly love, body and soul. Not to possess, but to walk side by side, where both are free, where no one must hide. Nietzsche spoke of the Übermensch, the ideal of man, a self that rises, no longer part of the plan. And love, in its truest form, is this: to become the Übermensch in love's pure bliss. When you stop seeking to be redeemed, when love no longer feels like a dream, you can finally meet her, eye to eye, without illusions or a need to deny. And what you find will not be a prize, but a partner, equally wise. For love, when it's clear, isn't about control. It's a partnership that nourishes the soul. In the final moments of illusion's end, there's a quiet peace, no need to pretend. Nietzsche, Jung, both saw it true. To love is to see yourself through. Love isn't a rescue, a balm, or a fight. It's a mirror that helps you find the light. When the illusion falls and the truth is near, you'll see her, not as savior, but as peer. So embrace love, not as an escape, but as a tool to reshape, not to fix what's broken or heal your pain, but to walk in truth and break the chain. When you stop seeking the perfect role, when you face the parts you've kept in control, you'll find love, not in her, but in you. The self-awakened, the self-renewed. Jung's vision was clear, as was Nietzsche's cry: love is not a fantasy, nor a lie. It's the challenge to be your own, and in that, true love is fully grown. As you step into the light of this truth, you begin to see, unveiling your youth, no longer a slave to the myths of the past, but a seeker of love that's built to last. Nietzsche told us, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." In love, your why becomes clear now. It's not to find someone to fill the void, but to stand as yourself, self-employed. No longer chasing a fairy tale's dream, but embracing what life really means. For love isn't about a savior, a knight, but two souls together, standing in light. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. Nietzsche's reminder rings true, that in love, we rise, not for them, but for you. It's not about needing to be seen, but having the courage to let go of the screen. Jung too saw what love could unfold, not a fantasy, but a truth to behold. In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. For love, like life, is never in order. It's chaos, wild, untamed, and free. But in that chaos we finally see. Love, when unmasked, is not always neat. It's messy, it's raw, but it's complete. It's not about who's right or who's wrong, but finding a rhythm, a mutual song. When you stop looking for a love that saves, you find the love that both frees and craves. It's the love that asks you to stand strong, to be vulnerable, to belong, to be wrong. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Jung's words cut through the veil. For love, in truth, will always unveil the parts of you you've tried to deny, the darkness that lives behind your eyes. Love exposes, yes, but it also heals when you accept the parts that it reveals. When you stop needing to be fixed, you see that love is not about tricks. It's not about winning or taking control, but about letting go of the roles we patrol. For love is a dance, not a battle to fight, a fluid exchange in the softest of light. Nietzsche's will to power was not to command, but to rise and take life in hand. Love is power, not in force, but in choice, to stand as you are and in your own voice. Become what you are, Nietzsche urged with might, for in love you must stand in your light, no longer relying on someone to complete, but recognizing the power in what's discreet. Jung's wisdom, too, shows us the way, that love is about understanding the play, to accept the shadow, the dark, and the light, to love all parts of you, in and out of sight. And when you see her, not as muse, but as whole, you understand the depth of your soul. For love is not about fixing or filling a gap, but sharing a space where both can unwrap. In this new truth, you stand, unafraid, no longer seeking love as a band-aid, but love as it truly is you find, a deep connection of body, heart, and mind. As Nietzsche said, there are no facts, only interpretations. Love, too, is seen through our own creations. It's how we interpret, how we perceive, the stories we tell ourselves and believe. But when the stories fall, when the myths fade, you see love as a force, no longer afraid, not to save, but to share, not to take, but to give. A love that lets both souls truly live. Jung's idea of individuation rings true, for love starts when you're fully you. It's the journey to wholeness, not to be fixed, but to accept yourself, no longer mixed. When you stop looking for someone to complete, you start a new love, one that's discreet, not based on need, but on trust and respect. A love that's real, a love that's direct. Love is not a game, not a role, not a need, but a place where both can plant a seed. When you both stand free without expectation, love transcends, no need for salvation. Nietzsche and Jung saw the truth long ago, that love is not something to possess, to show. It's a journey, raw, deep, and true, not about her or him, but about you. So stop the search, stop the chase, and love yourself, with no need to replace. For only then, when the mask is dropped, will you find the love that's never stopped. Love is not a story, nor a myth to weave, but a truth to embrace, a truth to believe. And when you stop pretending, stop the game, you'll find love that's real, love that's flame. So here's the truth that stands so clear, that love is not about what you fear. It's about standing fully, embracing the whole, not searching for someone to fill your soul. Nietzsche's wisdom and Jung's deep mind both show us love is a path to find, not an escape, not a fairy tale to chase, but the truth of love in its truest grace. Love is not about saving, not about gain. It's about walking together through joy and pain. And when you see her, not as a role to play, but as a partner who's chosen to stay, you'll know that love is not a lie, but a gift you share with no need to try. It's the freedom to be, the power to stand, and love, truly love, with heart in hand. As we stand on the precipice of this new truth, we see love not as a fairy tale, but as a proof that we are enough all on our own, not incomplete, but fully grown. For so long we've sought love outside ourselves, hoping someone would fill the empty shelves. But the emptiness was never her fault. It was the void we created, built by default. Nietzsche warned us, there's always some madness in love, but there's also always some reason in madness. And perhaps that's the key we've all missed. In love's madness, we seek something real, but fail to understand the depth it can heal. When you stop chasing validation, when you stop playing the game, you stop needing her love to validate your name. Love no longer becomes a tool of control, but an equal exchange, a union of souls. And here, perhaps, is the most profound truth. Real power isn't in controlling, but in growth, in you. Nietzsche's will to power wasn't about domination, it was the ability to evolve beyond limitation. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star, he wrote. And that chaos is within, deep in your soul, afloat. Love isn't about taming that chaos. It's about dancing with it, learning to be bold and flawless. Jung understood this truth too, that to love, we must first confront the shadows that grew. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. In love, we discover ourselves, near and far. The real dance of love begins when both are free, when you don't need her to fill what's missing in thee. When you love from a place of wholeness, not fear, only then does love become pure, sincere. So the illusion that love is a means to fix, the idea that it heals us, that it's just a mix of emotions and fantasies built on desire, falls apart when faced with what's real, not what's fire. Real love asks you to be who you are, to stand fully in your truth, no matter how far. It doesn't need you to change or conform. It needs you to shed your skin and be reborn. Love is not about what she gives or takes. It's about the space you create when you forsake the need for constant validation, the thirst for control, and step into the realm of self-aware soul. The radical truth of freedom. Now the most radical truth you must see is that love, when seen clearly, sets both hearts free. Not a game of power, but an exchange of respect, not about perfect roles, but mutual intellect. No more needing her to complete your sense of self. No more defining love by its role on the shelf. Real love is raw, unpretentious, and bold. It's not a story we tell, but a truth to uphold. And when you no longer look for someone to save you, when you stop playing the game of what you think is due, you'll find that love takes on a new form, a love that's unshaken, unfazed by the norm. In the end, the most powerful love is the one that starts with you, the love that asks nothing, but instead renews. For when you stop expecting her to be your light, you become the beacon that shines so bright. True love, a revolution of the self. This is the love that Nietzsche spoke of, the love that's born from the depths of your soul, not a shove. It's the revolution of the self, standing tall, no longer waiting for the other to catch you when you fall. For love isn't an escape from pain or sorrow. It's the courage to embrace yourself, today, tomorrow. It's the strength to stand alone, yet still give, to live and love, not to simply survive, but to truly live. And when you love from this place of truth, you'll realize love has always been, in essence, uncouth. It's not about perfection, nor some destined fate, but a journey of growth to open the gate. And at that gate, when you stand as one, you'll realize that the true love has just begun. For the love you sought outside, you already have within. A love that's powerful, eternal, and free from sin. As this truth settles deep in your soul, you realize love isn't a story, but the making of whole. It's not about the roles, the masks we wear, but the truth we embody, the love we share. When you stop needing love to save, to heal, to fix, you'll find a love that's pure, not built on tricks. It's a love that stands, clear and strong, not a dream, but a reality where both belong. In the end, love is about freedom, not chains. It's about embracing the beauty in the pains. For the most powerful truth you must see is that love starts within you, and that's where it's meant to be. When you stop running from yourself, when you stop hiding behind the roles you've played, you'll begin to see the beauty that was always there. Not in her, not in some ideal love, but in the quiet power of simply being you. The love you seek is not external. It's not in someone's embrace or a whispered promise. It's in the space you create when you stop needing, when you stop depending, when you stop fearing. It's in the acceptance of yourself, in the surrender of your illusions, in the quiet courage to simply be. Because love in its truest form is not a prize. It's not something to win, not something to earn. It's something you embody. It's the quiet strength of standing tall in your own skin, even when the world tries to convince you otherwise. The real power of love. The real power in love doesn't come from control. It doesn't come from expectation or need. It comes from freedom, freedom to choose, to love without the burden of fear, to connect without the chains of dependency, to be whole without the validation of another. The moment you realize that you're not incomplete, that you're not broken, not flawed, you'll see that love isn't about saving. It's about sharing the beauty of two souls, standing side by side, not needing to complete each other, but simply to be together, whole already. You'll begin to understand that love is not a transaction. It's not about bargaining or seeking approval. It's not about what you can get, but what you can give from a place of abundance. Love, when free from need, becomes a celebration of both. The final revelation. And then, as you let go of the past illusions, you'll realize that the greatest truth was always within you. You were never searching for someone to heal you. You were searching for the strength to heal yourself. The love you were looking for was always yours, waiting for you to see it, to feel it, to embrace it. In the end, the illusion falls away, and what remains is not pain, not loss, but the peace of knowing that love in its purest form is freedom. The truth is simple. You were never broken. You were never incomplete. You are whole. And when you accept that truth, you will understand what real love is. You will stand in your own power, and in that power, you will finally know the true meaning of love. The most powerful love is the one that starts with you. When you stop seeking to be saved, you become the savior. And in that, love becomes pure, not a dream, not a fantasy, but the truth of who you are. A love that needs no validation, a love that's free.